Welcome to Boomers on Travel. Yes, you can enjoy travel to foreign and exotic destinations, even if you're a boomer on a tight budget. Here are your hosts, Irene and Mike. Now, let's talk travel.
Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to Boomers on Travel. And I'm Irene, and my co-partner is Mike. And we are starting off 2019 talking about travel insurance. You know, everybody starts to think about where they're going to go for the year, how they're going to take their vacation, if they're going to go overseas, stay in their own country, whatever. Well, Mike and I have found out in the past, especially going on cruises, we're always offered the option for travel insurance. And we have some special guests here with us today. We are very close to our hearts. It's a personal story. We have Larry and Carolyn, who had the opportunity to travel overseas this past year, and they took the option of obtaining travel insurance. And we decided to ask them some questions about what they thought. Now, Carolyn, can you tell me what made you decide?
Yes, because as a result of having the health insurance, when we went to the Baltic, we ended up using it. Larry developed a bleeding ulcer as we got out of St. Petersburg, Russia, and traveled to Helsinki, Finland. In Helsinki, Finland, he was not feeling well, and it turned out that we went down to the infirmary. And
Where were you at this time? Were you on a ship, or were you...
Yes, we were cruising. We were on a cruise, and at that particular point, we had arrived in Helsinki for the day. And Larry was not feeling well. By the end of the day, he felt worse, and we decided that we should go to the infirmary, at which point the doctor at the infirmary instructed the crew to, he instructed that we should disembark and go directly to the hospital, at which point the crew went to our stateroom, packed our suitcases, and within minutes we had an ambulance there to take us to Helsinki Hospital.
Wow. It certainly seems that it was a good thing that you had the health insurance then. Now, did Larry have to stay in the hospital for any length of time, or can you tell us exactly how you used your travel insurance to cover your costs there?
Well, yes, Larry was in the hospital for two and a half days before they released him. He did have to have surgery as well. They did an endoscopy to check out the bleeding ulcer. So in the meantime, I found a hotel. Now, we both had our own travel health insurance. Larry had his, and I had purchased mine as well. So both of us were covered for the hotel. And now, as far as the health insurance was concerned, we're both on Medicare. Medicare does not cover health insurance outside of the United States. Therefore, it's really important to have health insurance because our personal health insurance covered all of Larry's bills from Helsinki Hospital. It's very important to keep, of course, all of your receipts, your food receipts, your hotel receipts, anything that you charge or whatever. You need to have those receipts to turn in to both for the health insurance policy and also, of course, for your personal health insurance. But we were reimbursed 100% because we both had health insurance. Now, also remember that because we did not complete the full cruise, the cruise line did reimburse us for the part of the cruise that we did not participate in. Not only that, but...
Did you feel that Larry got good care while he was at the hospital?
We were extremely fortunate that we were in Helsinki. Helsinki hospitals were top-notch. The surgeons and the nurses all spoke English sufficiently anyway to explain to us what was going on. Larry had a single room, very clean. The food was wonderful. He was served 3 full meals and a snack. We could not have asked for anything better. We were very fortunate to be in Helsinki and not in St. Petersburg when this happened.
Now, how did they transport you back? Did they provide health care for Larry on the way back?
That was an interesting situation because our tickets originally were to fly out of Rotterdam back to the States, but because we were in Helsinki, and I might add that we were in Helsinki for a total of 6 days, I believe it was. Now, in addition to the insurance that we purchased, I was in contact with 2 different agencies. One was a personal agency, a family agency that called me every day to make sure that my needs were taken care of and Larry's needs were being taken care of in the hospital. Then we also had another agency, which was the insurance agency, that was calling every day to make sure that we were taken care of and any health needs that we needed. In addition to that, the insurance covered our flight back to the United States. The insurance policy covered the need for Larry to have a nurse. They flew a nurse from Tampa, Florida to Helsinki, Finland. He left on a Thursday, arrived on Friday. They did an examination at the hotel and determined that Larry was healthy enough to fly back, but he had to have the nurse right by his side. So they transferred our tickets to a first-class ticket from Helsinki, Finland to New York City. And they took my ticket, and I had to pay out of pocket initially for my ticket to be transferred. However, that was all reimbursed as soon as I got back to the United States. So it was well worth having our travel insurance.
Well, Carolyn, thank you very much for all that information, and we hope that this helps our audience make a decision. I mean, this gives you an option to hear Carolyn talk about how her and Larry were able to use their travel insurance. And they also, took in consideration the insurance they had at home, but the insurance in the U.S. did not cover them overseas. So hopefully this will give you something to think about when the cruise ship offers you health insurance. You have to really analyze, well, do you think my insurance will cover me over there? That's what it sounds like to me. And what kind of care will I get if I don't take it? So thank you very much.
Irene, after hearing Carolyn's story with her and Larry, I think in the future we're going to have to really think about getting travel insurance. You don't think about it because you think you're in really good health and so forth, but you don't know. We're boomers, so you don't know exactly what can happen. And I've always had the perception, well, I'm going to countries like Sweden or Germany or France or something like that who have fantastic healthcare systems. But I didn't think about traveling back with a nurse and things like that. And it's very, very important. And it worked out really, really well for Carolyn and Larry. So that's something I think even our fellow travelers out there might want to consider. I would go in, check your policies, see exactly how your insurance works, what might be an option for you, how long your trip's going to be, and there's many, many options that you may need to consider, but it's definitely worth considering.
Well, before we leave you, we want to share a short story that Mike actually wrote on one of our trips. And this was in Italy. And to make it more authentic, we're actually having one of our Italian friends read the story.
The village of Proceno sits high on a hill removed from the worn and trotted tourist trails of Italy. The winds carry centuries of conversations between the narrow streets as whispers of times past. It is early spring, and the morning fog lifts revealing vistas of faraway towns perched on the sides of cliffs bathed in streaks of sunlight, dancing across 1,000-year-old tile roofs. I left my watch on the bedside stand, as time does not have to be measured in blocks or segments of a hectic working day. Proceno is a small village of 500 people in the Lazio region of Italy, 125 kilometers north of Rome. This village is essentially removed from the wired, hectic world I have grown accustomed to. Proceno has no significant landmarks or major works of art to attract tourists, yet it is special as its beauty lies in its serenity, a place where one can unplug and enjoy the sound of silence. This is a wonderful base to explore towns like Orvieto or Bolsena, a wonderful picturesque lake town less than 30 minutes by car. Proceno is a favorite with hikers and bikers who appreciate its raw beauty and authenticness. This whole area is drenched with a rich Etruscan history. We toured Savona's Etruscan villages and towns lie in rows like shiny medals proudly displayed on the chest of ancient Etruscan warriors. The owner of this quaint apartment where we are staying stated, "Don't worry about the keys, as we are all family here." Her statement codifies why I want to be here. A few decades ago, I grew up in a similar town where you didn't lock your doors as neighbors were like family, looking out for one another. Traveling the back roads of Italy, touring the small towns and villages with their piazzas, bakeries, small shops, and a sense of community harken back a time when I was so young. A time when the summer sun was so strong and bright, my senses were alive with the smell of fresh rain, and youth was a tight white canvas waiting for your imagination to splash it with patterns of vibrant, bright colors. I believe technology is slowly diluting the mystery and uniqueness of travel. Last week I was in Orvieto and I observed people walking around with their iPads held high like wooden soldiers doing FaceTime. To me, instant publishing is like being connected by some electronic umbilical cord, thus losing the experience of the moment. On the flip side is devices like a GPS. I can't imagine traveling Europe without one. As a baby boomer, I have lived in an era where tremendous changes have taken place both in society and especially technology. At this moment in time, I want to indulge myself and embrace my inner being in this collage of landscapes and preserve precious memories. When I was young, I always made sure to watch On the Road with Charles Kuralt on CBS. He always closed his show with, "I wonder what is around the next bend." Tomorrow, when I leave Proceno, I will ask the same question.
Mike, I certainly agree with what you just said. Now to move on, in our next episode, we're going to be talking about DNA. And have you done the DNA test? Well, stay tuned because we're going to have an exciting story to tell you about DNA. Till next time, friends, safe travels.
Boomers on Travel thanks you for being a part of our growing travel family. Join us next week for Travel Talk, focused on value and exciting travel destinations.